It's like someone has to get like arrested or a fire has to break out like every time I'm trying to record. You guys notice a pattern here? Every time in each one of these videos? One of these times they're going to be coming for me, probably, once they find out my secret. Hi Grauvlog fans, and welcome to another episode of the Grauvlog. Before we get started, I'd like to invite everyone to the Grauvlog website at grauvlog.com/prose versus plot. With each one of these Grauvlog episodes, I do a companion article on the website that kind of goes more in depth to the same topic. So I invite everyone to check that out, and I'll put the link in the description of the video and also in the video itself. This is a topic that I come across with a lot of fellow writers, a lot of people, especially those that want to break into writing, that are just starting out. And the thing that everyone really gets excited about, everyone that likes to write, is, their new ideas for their stories. But I have to say, contrary to a lot of people's popular opinion, it's actually not as important. The plot is not as important as the prose, as the writing itself. I remember, starting back in middle school, I used to write a lot of short stories, and I think I still have some of them somewhere, maybe here at my parents' house. And they were really awful, but that's besides the point. The point is that, I used to write a lot starting in middle school and all throughout high school and thereafter, kind of short stories for my own entertainment, and sometimes, my friends would read them. And I was always really proud of myself at coming up with all these like really awesome fantasy sci-fi stories that had all these really cool aliens and weapons and all these weird happenings, and I fleshed out like languages and political systems. But none of that really mattered because my writing back then was not, good enough. And back then I focused so much on all these new elements that I totally neglected the actual writing itself. I focused on the story and not kind of the substance that makes writing writing. Ideas are not the hard part of writing. Any one of us, if we really want to, can sit down and cloister ourselves in a room for 8 hours and come up with pages and pages of new plot lines, new characters, new story elements. The hard part is not coming up with new ideas. The hard part is making any idea presentable. And as I was writing these short stories, I remember one in particular. I think it was like 9th or 10th grade for a school project in English class. We had to write like a short composition. And I just didn't care about the assignment. I wasn't really the best student because I didn't really want to do the work. I guess I kind of thought it was beneath me. I don't know. It's kind of arrogant, but I was kind of an asshole then. And I just didn't really put a whole lot of thought into the originality of it. It was a story told from a first person. I remember it pretty well. And it was about the person through whose eyes it was told. They had lost their younger brother. So this person was supposed to go pick up their younger brother from like the bus stop after school, and he wasn't there. And it was like this terrible, that second of realization, like, oh my God, you just get these visions, like, is he dead? Has he been kidnapped? And then, it was a really short story, and then, the protagonist finds his brother again and all is well, and, he settles his nerves, he gives his brother a hug. And I didn't really focus on the originality of the story. I mean, that's something that could happen to any one of us, or has happened to any one of us. And I'll never forget when the teacher handed our assignments back out in the class, she asked me to stand up and read it in front of the entire class because she was so impressed with the composition itself. And I just couldn't believe it. I thought at first it was a joke. I mean, this story is awful. Like, it's just tropey, it's unoriginal, but I guess when I had set aside my pretensions about the story having to be unique, I focused on actually writing it well, and it ended up being like one of the highest grades. I got like 140 or something on it with all the extra credit that the teacher slapped on it. And I find that this is also true, in professional writing, that readers are more likely to forgive clumsy or bad or almost non-existent plot if the writing is good. They're much less forgiving if the story's really awesome but the writing is really crappy. And the reason being is that if the story's really awesome, if you have a really cool, interesting idea and the writing is bad, no reader is going to take the time, unless it's your mom or your best friend, to go through and find out what that story is. I mean, there are many examples of books that are based on previous books. I mean, like Romeo and Juliet has been adapted, how many times. A really popular one now is The Hunger Games, which is pretty much a younger person's version of Battle Royale. if you can write in an entertaining way, if you put your focus more on, which word order things are happening in, the grammar, the punctuation, the nitty-gritty, if you will, of the writing itself, you can make any story interesting. And so ever since that point in like 9th or 10th grade, when that happened to me, I kind of changed my focus on writing. Rather than trying to be really original, not that I didn't try to do that, I spent more time, rather than just like daydreaming up new ideas and trying those out, I just sat down and worked with, more mundane ideas and tried to make those interesting. Because if you can make like an everyday sort of scenario, like losing your brother at the bus stop, like traumatic, like so, engrossing, then your readers will be totally blown away when you couple your originality with your technical writing ability. And that's something that I come across, on a daily basis as I write, and when I get feedback from a lot of people, I get really proud of the really cool, like, subplot lines and, this new character and, this new monster that I made up. And when a lot of people, like, proofread, when my beta readers or my editors read stuff that I've written for the Grauvlog books, they always come back to me and, they tell me their least favorite parts and their favorite parts. And their favorite parts are usually like what I think would be the boring ones, like a character's just, sitting there thinking, or the way that you describe, something moving or a person walking, or, just dressing themselves, something mundane like that. And it's just always floors me, no matter how much pride and time I put into making the really interesting, like, unique stuff kind of stand out, it's most typically the more boring aspects of your writing for a variety of reasons that will stand out to a reader. So again, to drive the point home, it's more important to write well than it is to be original. So I'd like to close in asking everyone watching this video, what do you think is more important? Again, all these videos are just my know-nothing opinion. I'm not necessarily the expert on any of this stuff. We all have different opinions. So I'd ask you, what do you think is more important? Is the plot of a story more important, or the prose more important? Don't forget to check out the companion article to this video on the Grauvlog website. That's grauvlog.com/prose versus plot. I'll put the link in the video description and also in the video itself. And don't forget to rate and share this video if you liked it, and subscribe to the Grauvlog channel. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.